Hello my dear friends. So we are back again to continue our lessons on economics. So we have already completed the first lesson and we talked about development, and in today's we move ahead with the second lesson, where we'll be learning more about the sectors of economic activities. So we know in our country or in our society or in our surrounding, we will see or we will notice people are doing different types of activities. From morning till evening, they do so many activities, and we can categorize them. We can divide them into three groups. First one is the primary sector, second one is the secondary sector, and the third one is the tertiary sector. So let us see one by one. So if you look at the society, we see some people, they go to the field, they work hard, they do the farming and so on. And all the work that is done on this earth, on the ground, on the land, that is called primary sector. And it is also, since it is done on the land, it has also got another name called agricultural sector. It is also called agricultural sector. Agricultural sector, because it is done on the land. All the primary activities are done in the land. So can you just recall to yourself what are some of the activities done in the land? So the digging, planting, harvesting, so getting all the crops, everything is works done in the land. That is all will be under primary sector activities. Then what about mining? You do the mining on the earth and dig out the minerals from under the earth. So that also will be under primary sector. So though it has nothing to do with agriculture, it is a primary sector because the work is done on the land. And what about the animal husbandry? People who are growing animals. In our own houses we are growing chickens, cows, pigs and so on. So we are growing them for a purpose, for a business purpose, to get income, is it not? We are not just growing a cow as a pet animal. We are growing them for business purpose, to get a profit from them. We can get milk from them and we can sell the milk and get money. So that is also primary sector activities. So growing of animals, mining, then all the agriculture production, cultivating, whether it is a paddy or whether it is some other agriculture products, fruits or cotton, whatever it is, all these will be under the primary sector. I hope you follow. So it is from our own surroundings we can see the activities that people are undertaking. All that will be called primary sector. Primary sector, you know what's the meaning of prime? First. So these are the first activities that we can do, the people can do. And if the primary activities are not there, then secondary activities and tertiary activities are not that possible, because they are connected to each other. One depends on the other. We'll talk about that one a little more later. Now let us see one by one. I hope you understood what is primary sector. I will say once again, all the activities that are done on the land, like cultivation, all kinds of cultivation. Then the animal husbandry, growing of animals. Then the mining activities, all that will be under this primary sector. So that is the first sector, the primary sector. And let's say the example, we are cultivating cotton plants. So we know cotton is used for making clothes and so on, and there are so many other usefulness are there for the cotton. So one of the main purpose of cotton is to make clothes. So cotton will be turned into yarn, and that yarn will be used for weaving into cloth, and that cloth will be used for making into clothes or dress. So all that process is going on. So but above all, well, the first thing that is done is cultivation of the cotton and harvesting of the cotton. That is the first thing. So if you don't cultivate this cotton, then how can we make cotton clothes? So cotton dresses are very useful, especially in the summer season where the temperature is very high. If you wear the cotton clothes, then we feel more relief from the heat of the sun. So cotton clothes are very important, and if you don't cultivate cotton plants, then how can we get that cotton clothes? It is not possible, is it not? So let us keep that example of cotton cultivation. Now let us come to the secondary sector, and it also has got another name, that is called manufacturing sector. Another name for secondary sector is called manufacturing sector, and from the name itself we can understand it is manufacturing something, producing something. So that is the work in this secondary sector. All the work that is of producing something, all that will fall into secondary sector. For example, we are talking about cotton cultivation. So we cultivate cotton and keep the cotton there. What is the use of it? We should make use of that cotton to make into something else. That's why we said we turn into yarn. Then that yarn is used for weaving into cloth, and that cloth is used for making dress. So lot of activities are done. Manufacturing activities done. Cotton is manufactured into yarn. Yarn is manufactured into cloths, and cloth is manufactured into dress. So a lot of manufacturing activities are there. So all that will be under the secondary sector, the production. So cotton is one example. Then let us see that take the example of a factory. So there is an iron factory. They are making a lot of iron machines, machinery. So in order to make that iron, we need a lot of minerals. Minerals are coming from where? From the earth. We said digging out minerals, that will be the primary sector. So they dig out these minerals, iron ore and so on from the earth. Then their work is over. That is their work in the primary sector. Then we need to purify that one and convert that one into something more useful. Then that will come under secondary sector. So that minerals that are found from the earth or mined from the earth, that is converted or that is used for manufacturing something to make big iron machines, iron engines and so on. So if you go to a factory, you will know so much of machines will be there. Everything will be made of iron. There is no wooden machine and so on. Everything is made of iron. So all that iron is coming from the primary sector. It is their duty, or people who are working in this primary sector, they dug out from the mine, from under the earth, and then people who are working in the secondary sector, they are making use of it and they are making something else. So that is called manufacturing sector or secondary sector. So their duty is to take the things that are produced in this primary sector and convert them into something else or manufacture into something else. That is their duty. So everything that is produced here, they can make into something. Let's say for example, a person who is growing buffalo here in the primary sector, he is growing a buffalo and he is getting the milk of that buffalo and turning that milk into something else. We can make so many things with the milk. We can make ice creams, we can make cool drinks and so on. So milk is used for making so many things. So the milk is produced in the primary sector, and people who are growing the buffaloes, milking the buffalo, all that is primary activities. They belong to this primary sector. But people who are using that milk and making something else, or if he takes that milk and drinks straight away, then there is no more manufacturing, isn't it? That is over with the primary sector itself. So I am not talking about drinking then and there. When we have plenty of milk, we go and sell it in the shop. There are people are there, shops and milk shops are there who are ready to buy from the farmers the extra milk. So we go and sell it there, and they will give to the factories which are using milk to produce something else. They can produce butter, ice creams and cool drinks. All those things is possible with milk. So many products can be made. So that will be taken to the people who are working in this secondary sector, and they will convert into, or they will manufacture into something else. Milk can be made into ice creams, or milk can be made into butter and so on. So that will be the secondary sector. So I said every sector is interdependent. Interdependent means depending on another. One sector cannot, other sector cannot do their work. So if the primary sector is not producing milk, how can the secondary sector people make use of that milk? So they have to produce in the primary sector level, then only the secondary sector people can work. Otherwise they will be simply sitting with a factory to make ice cream, but they don't have milk. How are they going to make ice cream without milk? So the secondary sector depends on the primary sector, what they produce, how they produce and so on. So they are depending on the primary sector. So that is called interdependent. Now let us come to the third sector, that is called the tertiary sector. Tertiary, not tertiary, but tertiary. We have to pronounce it as tertiary. So this also has got one more name. So everyone has got two names: primary sector or agriculture sector, secondary sector or manufacturing sector, tertiary sector, or name is service sector. The third sector is name, another name is service sector, tertiary sector or service sector. So what are the duties of the people working in this tertiary sector? Tertiary means service. Another name for tertiary is service. So what are the people who are working in this service sector or tertiary sector? Can you have some ideas or some clue in your heart, in your mind? So these are the people who are doing the service. They are providing service. We know in our society we receive so much of service from the people. No? We receive so much of service from the people. So people who are working in this tertiary sector, they don't produce anything in the agricultural field. They are not producing anything or manufacturing anything in the factory, but they are providing service. So in your own locality or in your own life, we know so many people are serving you. So the teachers are serving you. They are not cultivating anything, they are not manufacturing anything, but they are providing you service. They are teaching you. So if you go to a shop to buy something, the shopkeeper will take and give you something. That is a service. So you need a Colgate, let's say, Colgate. So that shopkeeper is there to sell the Colgate to you. Of course, you have to give money. He is not giving you free. But that shopkeeper is not there. If that shop is not there, then how will you get Colgate? You have to go to the factory where they are making. Colgate factory you have to go. So, but this man is offering a service, running a shop, selling things. So, because of his service, you are able to get this Colgate in your place. The same way, if you go to a bank, all the people in the bank, they are providing service. They are not manufacturing anything, but they are giving you service. If you want money, they are ready to give you loan. Or if you want to deposit money, then they are ready to help you. They are ready to accept your money, all that. So people who are working in the shops, working in the offices, they are all offering services. Then other services are there. People who are providing transportation. I am sure you are all traveling not in your own vehicles. You may be going by a taxi, or you may be going by a school bus, or you may be even traveling by the train or plane and so on. So all these are services. You give some money and they provide you service. So a person who is driving a vehicle, a taxi, and you are getting into the taxi, you have to pay the gadi bhada and he will reach you to your destination. So he is giving you service and you are paying for him. So all these are services. So these are the three types of works that people are doing. Whatever work you take in your locality or in our country, we can say they all belong to any of these. So outside this there is no work. All the works that you do, either it will be a primary sector work or a secondary sector work or a tertiary sector work. Apart from that, there is no work. So you can take some example by yourself and see whether they belong to which sector, primary sector or not, or secondary sector or not, or tertiary sector or not. You can analyze by yourself. You will be seeing certainly people who are doing so many works in your locality, in your neighborhood. So just ask, this work that man is doing, what kind of work it is? Is it a primary sector? So how can you say it is a primary sector? If it is done, the work done on the land, can be agriculture, can be mining, can be animal husbandry, growing of animals and so on. All that will be primary sector. Then if he is working in a company producing something, manufacturing something, for example he is working in a bricks factory, producing bricks. So they need to take mud from the earth, that is taking the mud is a primary sector work because it is working on the land. Then that mud is converted something, using that mud he is converting or he is manufacturing bricks, that is secondary activity. And after producing that bricks, keeping there means no use. We have to give it to the people who are making buildings, then only the company will get money. Otherwise, after making all the bricks and I will keep it nicely in my godown, then no use. No. So who will carry that on? That is the duty of the tertiary sector workers. People who have got truck, they will come with the truck, carry the bricks and reach to the town. Or they may have shop in the town, they will keep in the shop. So people who want, they can come and buy from the shop. So it is those who are carrying from the factory to the shop, to the town, that is tertiary sector. And people who are selling that in the shop, they are also working in the tertiary sector. So those who are providing transportation, those who are providing advice, or those who are selling things in the shop, all these are providing services. So people who are doctors, engineers, nurses, teachers, they are all working in the tertiary sector. They are not producing anything, but they are offering service, that will come under tertiary sector. People who are engineers, or people who are doctors, or people who are running taxi or rickshaw, they are all doing service, different levels of service. The service that the engineer doing is not the same as a rickshaw wala, a taxi wala is doing. So they have different levels of service. So, but everything is a service. So, as I said, all our activities, all the human activities done on this earth, they will fall under any of these categories. Now, as I said beginning, they are all interdependent. Suppose we say making bricks. So if the primary sector there is no land, no soil, no mud, then how can they make bricks? Isn't it? And if they don't make bricks, then how can they give service? How can they carry? So that is one example. Well, let's come to the cotton again. Let us talk about cotton. So if the farmers are cultivating cotton, then the secondary sector, the company, they are ready to buy that one and produce cloth, and then the tertiary sector is ready to carry that one to the market and sell it. So they do cultivation of the cotton, then they do the producing of manufacturing into cloth, and they do the selling, transportation and selling. Suppose there is a cotton mill, changing cotton into cloths, cotton mill is there, and the farmers are not producing, they say we shall not cultivate cotton. All the farmers decide we will not cultivate cotton. Then what will happen to this factory that is meant for producing cloth, cotton cloths? They will have to close their factory because they don't have cotton at all. Cotton not available because nobody is cultivating. So you can say this secondary sector is depending on things that are provided, raw materials that are provided by the primary sector. So they are depending on soil. Now let us say the other way. The farmers are producing cotton in good amount, big amount, large quantity, and these cotton factories or cotton mills, they say we don't need your cotton, we will buy from outside, we will import from foreign countries, we get better cotton from foreign countries. So if they decide that way, what will happen to this primary sector? The farmers will be struggling, they produce cotton and nobody is buying, and so they will be at a loss, they will be losing a lot of money, profit, they may be borrowing money and doing the cotton cultivation, they will lose everything. So the primary sector depends on the secondary sector for buying their raw materials. So secondary sector needs the primary sector for producing raw material. The primary sector depends on the secondary sector for buying their raw materials, and the secondary sector is producing, keeping all the cotton into cloths in their factory, and the tertiary sector, all the truck drivers say we will not come to help you, we don't want to carry your things, we will not help you. Then what will happen? All that cotton cloths will remain in the factory and afterwards it will get rotten and get spoiled, and the transporters will not be helping them, and so the company will be losing all their money because all their clothes they are supposed to take it to the shop and sell it, but they are not selling it, so they have lost all their money. So the secondary sector depends on the tertiary sector as well, and if they are not producing cotton, then the secondary sector will not have work, they will not be able to manufacture cotton into clothes, and if they are not manufacturing, then tertiary sector will not have any work to carry anything, so their vehicles, trucks, everything will be remaining empty and they will be losing their money. So each one is depending on another. We cannot say I don't need your service from primary sector, I will manage by myself. We cannot say that. Somebody has to be there to work in the primary primary sector, then only the secondary sector can continue their work. And after their continuation of the work, the tertiary sector has to carry on the service, providing service, carrying things to the market and so on. So all that is revealing that the three sectors of the economy, they are completely depending on each other. They are important to each other, and so we need to realize that it is every sector is important, and we'll study in the later classes which sector is gaining more profit or which sector has got more people working, and so we'll be studying in the next class. So for today, let us wind it up. I hope you will have no confusion now. It is clear to you that there are three sectors. One is called primary sector or agriculture sector. Second one is called secondary or manufacturing sector. Third one is called tertiary sector or service sector. And no sector can exist by itself. They are dependent on each other. That is why we say they are interdependent. So you read your textbooks nicely, and if you have any doubt, you are free to ask me, and I will be able to clarify your doubts. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day.